Hi everyone, I'm Janneke and welcome to my channel Books and Stitches, wherein I sometimes talk about books and sometimes talk about cross stitch, but right now we're going to talk about books and more importantly, we're going to talk about my October slash maybe November TBR. I am going to be playing both books TBR game because it looks amazing. I will definitely link like the original down below. Um, just a little warning, I am kind of ill still. So I might be like all over the place mentally, but I need to know what I need to read this month. And also I just am so excited to play this game. So both books has a TBR game that is based on the board game Final Girl. You can see it right now. I have added it to Canva. Her TBR game is called Final FMC, and it just looks incredible. So we're gonna try playing it. Hopefully, I'm not like blocking anything important. So I will probably check the rules a couple of times throughout this, but first of all, we need to know which main character we are. So let's spin the wheel. She has like really cool parts for everything, but since I don't know how often I'm gonna play this, I didn't want to print everything out. We've got the Rebel. I should probably turn the sound off for that, but let's get the card for the Rebel. So for the Rebel, we add a book to our TBR that has a morally gray main character or an unreliable narrator. And the perk is no rules. When you add a book to your TBR that involves illegal activity as a central theme, gain a weapon for free. It doesn't go against hand limit once per game. So we need to pick a book for that. Um, I also have two books that I didn't get around to in September because, like I said, I was sick. I ended up reading a lot less than I wanted to. So I'm gonna try and get those books on my TBR. But we'll see. Those books are Something More by, oh, why is it not loading? Let me reload the page and see if it shows up then. Yeah, Something More by Jackie Khalile and Chronicles of Weatherby by Anna James. So those I am gonna try and get on here, but for right now we have The Rebel, and the prompt for that, like I said, was a morally gray character or an unreliable narrator. So let me look to see if I have a book like that. How can I pause this recording? Okay, so I've decided to read We Were Liars for this. I have read this book before, so I know the narrator is very much an unreliable one, but I've been wanting to reread it and to continue in with the series with Family of Liars, but I wanted to reread this first. And this is definitely an unreliable narrator, so I am gonna read that one. The ones I had already like selected, those two didn't really fit that prompt. So my main character, the rebel, has three lives. So every time I think I don't finish a book, I lose a life. So we won't know that, I don't think, until the end of the month. But we also have to defeat a killer. So let's first try and figure out who our killer is. Um, while I do that, I did want to warn you that I don't tend to read a lot of horror or any horror at all. And this game is very much based on horror movies. And because of that, a lot of the prompts are quite horror-y. So I might have to like stretch certain prompts. Okay, the alien. That's actually one I was kind of dreading because I think that is very sci-fi, which is also something I don't tend to read. Let me look for the alien. Okay, so yeah, a book that is set in outer space or on another planet, a book that involves androids or creature feature. I think for now I'm actually gonna skip this one and just spin again because I can't think of any books I have that I want to read that fit any of these prompts. So I do want to like have it be random. You can pick a killer, but I wanted it to be random. But I think I'm gonna give myself like three skips, maybe max. Um, or just in case, because some I just don't think I can make work. if I end up playing this a lot, I will do them eventually. But for right now, I'm just gonna try and focus on some that I think are a bit more doable because I think that would be more fun. So the Hillbilly, what do I have to do for that? True crime book or a book inspired by true friends? Oh, I can't talk. A book about a disturbing or dysfunctional family. Well, we realize would work really well for that as well. A book that deals with systematic oppression. I think I can probably do that. So let's download this one and add this one to my game. So we need to upload that one. So this is the killer we're gonna try and fight. We have to defeat him 3 times to win the game or like end this round, I guess. Um, like I said, I will leave the original video down below because I am not good at explaining things right now, just because I am so tired. Let me put that picture here as well. Um, I really should have probably waited until later to do this, but I just wanted to start so badly. So let me read this real quick. Um, Choose or randomly draw a killer card. This is your killer. Every killer has 3 lives, represented by the 3 prompts on their TBR. Choose a prompt and add that book to your TBR. So we have to start already with book. So true crime or a book inspired by true events, disturbing or dysfunctional family, or systematic oppression. I think I am going to go with systematic oppression and go with Chronicles of Weatherby. That might be a bit of a stretch because I don't think they're actually getting oppressed, but I know there is like a rebellion going on in this book that does believe that. So, let me put this down a bit. Chronicles of Oh, I never told you what We Were Liars was about, did I? Okay, let's start with that. We Were Liars is about a rich family that spends every summer on an island. It's been a while since I read this, but if I remember correctly, um, the main character had like traumatic head injury, and now things are being really weird. Like her family is being really weird, and stuff is just going weirdly, and she wants to figure out what really happened that summer because like last year, because she also doesn't really remember it. I think that's all I can tell without spoiling it, but the writing style is also quite like fairy tale-esque. So yeah, I remember that being fun. It's by E. Lockhart. And then Chronicles of Weatherby, um, Age of Enchantment is the name of the first book that I'm reading. Is about 2 siblings who are born in a world where everyone has a little bit of magic, but some people have a lot of magic. Those are called the enchanters, and they get chosen. They go to a special school. They have a lot more power and abilities. And one of the 2 siblings, they're twins, is an enchanter, and one isn't. So the girl Juniper goes to the school for enchantment, and the boy goes to the capital city to become like an apprentice in a bookbindery. And he discovers that the owners of that bookbindery are like kind of part of a secret group that feels really oppressed by not having the same magic as the enchanters and wants to steal that magic. And um, yeah, that's basically why I think this book will fit. I don't think there's any actual oppression going on, but a group in this book really feels like there is. So I think that would count for that. Um, so the book, I am about halfway through this book already, so I'm not sure if that is technically allowed, but I'm counting it anyway. But the book in the beginning centers a lot on Juniper and her like discovery of magic, and then throughout like the book, you get more of Rarity, her twin brother's point of view as well. So it is about both of them, and they're both like working towards figuring out the same like mystery with this plant that is stealing is able to steal people's magic. Because Juniper gets attacked with that plant really early on in the book, and Rarity finds that's her twin brother. I don't know if I said her name, his name. Rarity finds out quite early on, not quite, yeah, that it is something to do with that secret society. So yeah, I don't think I gave any big spoilers there, but that's why I chose this book for that. Let me real quick look if um the killer already loses a life for that. I think he does. I can't see that real quick, but since we have to do a prompt for choosing the killer, I think he automatically also loses a life for that. Maybe. I'm gonna say yes. If it's wrong, sorry, and I will not do that again next time. But let me put this one down. So he loses one life, and then we're gonna start the game. So I can put my character. I chose this little girl because I figured that would be nice on any killer space, which is the puzzle pieces. I'm just gonna put it here, and then we're gonna roll a d6. We rolled a 2. We have to go clockwise, I believe. So one, two. That is a victim space. Yes. So for that, we have to draw a victim card and place the card under the active killer. Add a book to your TBR using the prompts. If we had a weapon, I could use a weapon to save the victim, but we don't have a weapon yet. So let's see which victim the killer kills. I have a wheel for that as well. There's a lot of wheels around because yeah, I don't have the cards printed out. The lovers. Okay. So let's see what that is. We're gonna go to cards. We're gonna go to victims and the lovers. A spicy book to your TBR. Okay, that's fun. There are a couple of my like books that I still want to read that will be a spicy romance. Um, Something more definitely isn't because that's YA, but there are some that are that I want to read. So let me first put the lovers on here. I think I already know what I'm going to read for that. So there is a like series of pretty short romance novels that are like disability centric. Um, I've read the first two in that series or like listened to them. Love Flushed that you can see right here is one of them, and that means I don't have the third one downloaded yet. That's Darn It All. So the first one was about okay, book. There we go. By Evie Mitchell. The series is by Evie Mitchell. I want to finish the series. I've read the first two of it or like listened to it, and I am excited to listen to this last one. They are definitely spicy. The first book was about a woman in a wheelchair who has a podcast about like sex because she's like also a sex therapist, and she was asked by a listener to make an episode about um like accessible role play, and then the second book was about like her friend who has Crohn's disease. And this third one is about another friend in the friend group. I don't think that friend has a disability, though I don't fully remember. But her love interest, which is the brother of the love interest in the second novel, is an amputee and has a prosthetic leg. So that's the disability there. And I think it is about a fashion show, like a Project Runway type show, which will be really fun because I like reality shows in books, like reality competitions. So I think the main character, the female main character, is going on a show as like a clothing designer maker, and the male main character ends up helping her in some way, and then they fall in love, obviously, and um, going by the first two books in the series, they will have spicy sex as well. So that doesn't lose any lives for anyone, but it is a book added to my TBR. Let's roll again. 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at a killer space and we still don't have a weapon. So that means we have to escape. Wait, actually, what was the Rebels like perk? When you add a book to your TBR that involves illegal activity as a central theme. Um, I don't know if any of these have activity as a central theme. I guess Chronicles of Weatherite does actually, because of that whole like rebellion, that like secret society that plays a pretty big role in it. That's a big theme, and that is definitely illegal. So I think I'm actually going to count that as an illegal activity, and then I can get a free weapon once per game. So I'm not going to save the victims because I want to read Darn It All anyway, and forgot about it back then. But since I remember in time for this one, let's pick a weapon from my perk. We got a chainsaw. Okay, let's go to the cards. Weapons. Chainsaw. If used on the hillbilly, this weapon removes 2 lives instead of 1. And we are fighting the hillbilly, aren't we? Okay, that looks like this will be a very quick game. Um, so I am gonna upload it first of all, and then I am gonna double check that I did everything right because I think that already means we're finished, which would be so quickly. So I'm gonna pause this recording real quick while I read through all the rules to see if I missed anything. Okay, I did do everything right. We just ended up being extremely lucky. However, I've decided I don't like being that lucky. So I'm gonna say, since the main characters aren't the one doing illegal things, this doesn't count for my perk for the rebel. Because I don't want to win that easily. So we're just landing on the killer space and we're gonna fight the hillbilly or like escape the hillbilly. We're just gonna keep playing as if I don't have a weapon. Because I don't like how easy that would have been. Um, I know that is probably like a good thing, but yeah, I don't want it to be that easy. So I'm gonna look for a true crime book or a book inspired by true events or a book about a disturbing or dysfunctional family to add to my TBR. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the prompt for a dysfunctional family, and for that, I'm gonna go with Cinderella. Um, it's called The Princess Swap, Cinderella and the Beast, or Beauty and the Glass Slipper. It's just a fun middle grade that is like a retelling of Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast, where Cinderella and Belle switch places. But since Cinderella is a part of it and her stepfamily is very dysfunctional, I figured that would count. And it's just like a fun, quick one to throw in there. So that's what I'm going with. With that, the hillbilly loses another life and we roll again. I really hope I don't end up regretting not taking the easy path. But it just didn't sound fun to only have to read 3 books. So, a 1. With that, we do end up on a weapon space. And um, I am gonna roll for, or like spin for which weapon we're gonna get. I'll keep the chainsaw on here, but I'm not gonna pick it again because I just want some randomness. Cursed tape. Okay, let me double check, but I think I have to now read for that prompt. Yeah, we need to add a book to your TBR with that prompt. So, what is the prompt for cursed tape? A book set in the 80s, 90s, or early 2000s. Okay, that's gonna be difficult. I don't know if I have any. I have some books that were published in the early 2000s, so those are probably set in the early 2000s as well. But let me see. Let's upload that first of all. There we go. I will. look through which books I want to read to see if any of them are set in the 80s, 90s, or early 2000s. Okay, this is gonna be the first stretch because I could not find one. I'm sure I have one, but not that I'm aware of, and I don't want to like read through the synopsis of every book I own that I haven't read yet to find one. So I am gonna go with Kruistocht de Spijkerbroek. I said that weird because I kind of said it in an English accent, but it's a Dutch word. But Kruistocht de Spijkerbroek. It is translated to like crusade in jeans. I think there might be an English translation. I'm not 100% sure. As you might be able to tell from the cover, the majority of it does not take place in the 90s, 80s, or early 2000s. It actually takes place in the Middle Ages. But it is about a boy who time travels from his own time to the Middle Ages. Um, I think the book was actually published in the 70s, so that is before the 80s. But the movie that I grew up with was made in 2006. And so in the movie, he time travels from 2006 to the Middle Ages. So I think that will count. Either the movie is actually in the early 2000s or the book is probably in the 70s, but that's close to the 80s. So that's what I'm going to go with. I kind of said it right now, but it's about a boy who time travels from his own time to the Crusades in like I think it's like 1200 something. And he has to make a crusade, and yeah, he's wearing jeans at the beginning, I guess, because it's called Crusade in Jeans. The author is Via Beckman, and it is a Dutch children's classic. So I figured I'll put that in. That is the closest I'm going to be able to get. And now we're gonna roll again. Six. One, two, three, four, five, six. So I probably should have just taken the easy routes because then I definitely would have been able to finish it in October. But like I said, we're just gonna take November as well, just because I've been ill a lot. In September, I've barely read because of that, and I don't know how much reading I'll be able to get done now. So my plan is to take October and November for this, which is part of why I didn't want to only have 3 books. The Abandoned Asylum. I am recording, right? Let me double check. Yes, I did click on play. So, The Abandoned Asylum. I think we have to read a mental health book for that. Yeah, mental illness or trauma. So, I'm sure we can find one for. Actually, I'm gonna count something more for that. I don't know if you would count it as a mental illness. I think it depends on who you're asking. But the main character in something more is autistic. I'm autistic as well, and it is definitely a disability. It's not really an illness, but I think a disability would count as well. Um, so I'm gonna put something more there because that is a book I wanted to read anyway. So yeah, something more is about a girl with autism who goes to high school. I'm honestly not sure what else it's about. I know it's by a Canadian Palestinian author, and I know the main character had autism, and honestly, those two things were enough for me to want to buy and read it. So I think there will be a love triangle just based on the cover. I'm not really looking forward to that aspect of it, but I am really looking forward to reading about an autistic main character. So we win some, we lose some. Hopefully, it will be done well. So let's roll again. Honestly, we went from 3 books to like a ton of books. 5. Whoa, wrong thing I'm moving. One, two, three, four, 5. Oh, I keep forgetting to think about the crime thing. I don't think anything has crimes as like a central theme, which means we're going to the last killer space. We have to escape the killer again because we don't have. Oh no, we have the cursed tape. That's a weapon, right? Yeah. That was a weapon. Let me see what happens if we have a weapon. Fight. Use a weapon from your hand to fight and injure the killer. Killer loses 1 or 2 lives, depending on if you have the killer's matching weapon. So yeah, the killer loses a life because we have the cursed tape. Now we can't use the cursed tape again, but we don't have to because the hillbilly is now defeated. So yay, we defeated the hillbilly with a cursed tape. Let me make this a bit bigger. I thought I wanted to put all the cards on here, but that isn't really useful. I think it matches better like this. So we won the game as long as I read all the books. Otherwise, we might not. But as long as we read, I say I, as long as I read all the books we just picked, we will have defeated the hillbilly. And these are the 6 books and the 6 cards that we got. So I'm gonna read We Were Liars for the Rebel, a book with a more unreliable narrator. Then we're going to read Chronicles of Weatherby for a book about systematic oppression. Darn it all for the lovers who sadly are dying because I did not have a weapon back then. Then The Princess Swap um, for a book about a dysfunctional family because Cinderella and her stepsisters and stepmother are definitely dysfunctional. Then Crusade in Jeans for a book in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Like I said, that isn't really accurate, but close enough, and it's the closest I could find. And then a book of mental illness or trauma. I'm going to go with something more because autism is a disability. It's not really an illness, but I think it counts as someone with autism. I think I get to decide that it counts. So those are the 6 books I'm gonna try and read. Since it's only 6, I think I will try and read them all in October. So I will try and remember to post like a little update video at the end of October to see if we survived or not. And then I may or may not play this game again because I do think it is so much fun. So I honestly might play it again and then I'll like tell you how everything went and we'll try and defeat some more killers. But either way, I will try and remind you, not remind you, let you know if the rebel survived or not. I don't know where to put myself and also show everything nicely to you. So that's why I'm just moving around. I think this works because you can see the rebel, the hillbilly, and all the books. I think that's close enough. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, this is originally by Bo's Books. It is amazing. She does it incredibly. She has like a full board with like cards and it just looks great. So absolutely go check her out. Like I will be linking it in the description below. She is amazing. I definitely recommend watching it. It is so much fun. I think she's in her 3rd month of it now. So yeah, go check her out. And thank you so much for watching my video. Bye.